Hello everyone, I'm the Mole Man and welcome back to Train Simulator. We're at Norwich again. In the last video we drove from Great Yarmouth to Norwich and I've got a spare couple of hours, so I thought, sod it, why not? Why not start again at Norwich and with this wonderful Mark III set here with a 90 at the end, drive all the way to London Liverpool Street. This is going to be a mad one. Right, let's unpause the game and see what we're doing. We need to open the doors. Excellent. Right, let's get the train set up. Should be fairly simple job to do. Get the instrument lights on. We get some headlights. We have some headlights. This is the HUD version, not the advanced version of the 90. It's just the way the scenario is set up. But yes, Norwich to London. It's gonna be mad. It's gonna be mad. I mean, it's what is it, 114 miles, and we're stopping at scroll the list. We're stopping at Diss, Stowmarket, Ipswich, Manningtree, Colchester, Marks-Tay, Kelvedon, Witham, Hatfield, Peveril, Chelmsford, Shenfield, Stratford, and Liverpool Street. This is gonna be mad. Like it says it takes over 2 hours, so this is like the longest drive I've done in years. So you know, why the hell not? Let's see what happens. This is a workshop route that extends the Great Eastern Main Line to Norwich. It is not a stable route. There is every chance we won't make it all the way, because even the original Great Eastern Main Line isn't stable. So we'll get as far as we can with this today. It's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be very, very interesting indeed. Yeah, 2 hours. I mean, I'll split it up for you guys a little bit, because sitting straight through 2 hours might not be the easiest thing in the world. And I don't fancy trying to render a 2 hour long video, so that's going to be good fun. But yeah, right, let's make sure the rest of us is set up here. ETS on. Even though it's summer, I don't think it really matters. Alright. What's the button for the guards thing? Let's just, where is it? There it is. This is an old school, it's key N, good to know. This is quite an old school pack, so a lot of the keyboard commands aren't the same as what they would be on newer add-ons. Let's get this to 25. I want this on. It's going to take everything we've got to drive properly today. So I'm going to use the speed set to help us along our way. Oh, the doors are still open. What? Close doors. Please. Come on, we had the beep beep. We're allowed to go. Please close. Thank you. Dear oh dear. That's off to a flying start there. Alright, we're away. Yeah, this is nuts. I don't know why I decided to do this. 2 hours. But we can do it. We can do it. And there goes the rest of our train. The now retired 90 sets on the Great Eastern Main Line. Right. Get back in the cab. So yes, last video we came from that way. Great Yarmouth. But this time we are heading towards Ipswich. Going around Crown Point Depot here. It's a completely different scene now. It's just got flirts everywhere. Flirts absolutely everywhere. That's it. Now this run is going to be, as I said, a couple of hours, which means there's going to be lots of opportunities for screenshots. You know it to be true. So I shall take what I can without adding too much to the runtime. Because, you know, we don't want to be here all day. That's it. Right, speed up a little bit. There we go. So yeah, I've never done this run in one go. I mean, I've done the Ipswich to London section before, way back in the day, but I've never done a full length run in the 90. So I thought, why not? What can possibly go wrong, you know? And yeah, it could get a little bit dull in between places because we have got to drive for 2 hours, and I haven't spoken for 2 hours long in God knows how long. So we'll just see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Our main task for the for now is getting up to speed. We have got 19 miles until this, so hopefully they won't be too bad. This is a run that I have done in reality, of sorts. I did northbound, that was fine, but as I explained in the last video, the being 45 minutes late back to Norwich meant I had to get a different train back to London. And for some reason, the 90 set that I had terminated at Colchester. So I pulled into Colchester at the same time as the 321, and I had to run to catch the 321 and to take that down to London. But in this, we are doing the whole thing. No running around at Colchester today. Let's grab a screenshot there. Look at that. Lovely. That's what we want. That's it, right, let's get ourselves up to speed. Just waiting for the speed limit to properly get us up, so then we can actually make some progress. But yeah, that was an interesting trip. Just, you know, this train terminates at Colchester. I'm going to London. I know, we have to get on this other train that's not really designed for express runs. Although, I will say, the IC70 seating that features in these Mark III coaches is some of my least favourite seating I've ever sat on in a train. It's the same sort of seats that Chiltern has and that Mark IIs have and such. I just don't like it. It's not comfortable. And on the way back, I actually sat in the priority seat. It was more comfortable. And the 321 was a Renatus set, and I found that more comfortable than the IC70 seats. I've spent more time on a 700 and been more comfortable than I have on these Mark IIIs. It's yeah, I'm not a fan of these. So operationally and, you know, stuff, I'm not too fussed about these things being retired. The thought of going on a flirt one day and oh, look at the curve there, and, you know, trying something that might actually be a bit more comfortable is very exciting. Oh, his bloody post in the way. We're gonna have to get a nice fly past, but we need to get ourselves up to speed as well. Need to sort the speed set out, which I'll do now. Hopefully. There he goes. Lovely. So yeah, the premise of this scenario is some of the lines are closed between Shenfield and London, so that's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting. I think we end up using the slow lines or something, I can't exactly remember. I don't tend to read the blurb, I just dive in and see what happens. All I really care about is what I'm driving and how long it's going to take, and usually I don't do anything too long because driving the same thing for 2 hours, you know, it takes a bit of effort. But considering I've done this in real life now, I feel like it's something I should do in Train Sim. How long it will take, you know, before I start to regret that, we'll find out. Alright, up to 100. And yeah, it's been a long time since I've driven the 90. It's a locomotive I've actually barely driven. You know, I've owned it for years, but I've barely driven it. Because most of the routes it runs on are really long, and you can usually drive something faster than it. You know, like they used to use a 90 on a Mark IV set on the East Coast Main Line. It's like, okay, yeah, but it's limited to 110, so I'd just drive a 91 or HST or an 801. Why would I drive this? Same goes with West Coast Main Line. Why would I drive this when I could drive a 390 that's quicker? I just like the speed aspect, and for that reason alone, there aren't that many reasons for me to use a 90. But in this instance, the line speed is maximum 110 anyway, and it's what ran this line. It's essentially the fastest thing. If we were doing an express service, we could do this in an hour and a half. It's the stopping that's going to add some time to this, which is fine. Because there's this whole thing called Norwich in 90. We're essentially getting there in 90 minutes by only stopping at one station on the way, I think. It was like either Stratford or something, I can't remember now. Maybe Colchester, I don't know. Or maybe just Ipswich. I really have no idea. It's just the whole concept of Norwich in 90 was kind of cool and achievable with the 90s. So, you know, Norwich in 90 and a 90, that was a thing. But then the 745s were introduced, and just their acceleration and braking skills just could slash the times even further. Because modern trains, they're good. They're good. Racing along now. 13 miles to go until this, thereabouts. Lovely. So the 90 isn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. There's just stuff that's better in reality, I think. But in Train Sim, it's still very nice. I mean, it's not the most up-to-date add-on out there. And as I said, we've got the guards buzzer is on N, that's on Y and C. Whereas if this was a more modern release, the guards bell would be on C, and that would be on comma and full stop. And there's just all those different things, like the Class 321, the Class 456. They're still nice trains to drive in Train Sim, but I struggle with them because they've got non-standard input, keyboard inputs. It's one of those weird things, but hopefully it's something that gets updated one day. I mean, yes, it's lovely, but it's still old. Like, imagine if this had working GSMR and all that sort of stuff, It'd be nice. Graduated self-lap. Oh, do you brake by yourself to keep me at 100 miles an hour? I think you do. Because we're going downhill and we're holding 100. Oh, this is going to be easy. I'm going to just sit back and relax and enjoy this until we get a couple miles out of this. I don't know how long this thing takes to stop. We'll find out. Hopefully we'll do well. I mean, this is the HUD version of the train, it's not the advanced one, so hopefully nothing should go too wrong that I can't recover it. But part of me thinks I should have the manual open in case I do wreck it somehow. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Just look at the train just going up and down the gradients there, that's awesome. Love it. I've no idea if I was about to say something and I completely forgot. No idea what. I don't know, brain. This is a good start. I'm forgetting what I'm saying. Immediately, even though we've only got, 10 miles done so far? Yeah, great. This is going to be quality content, this is. It's about the journey. Not every journey's the best, I guess, but it's just something I want to do. And this is one of the nice things about doing YouTube again. It just gives me an excuse to sit here and drive. Normally I struggle to justify the time. Like, I could sit here for 2 hours and do this anyway. But if I wasn't sharing it, if I wasn't talking to you guys, then what's the point, I'd rather do other stuff. If I wasn't doing this, I'd be doing other stuff for 2 hours. Which is good fun. Oh dear, my drink stuck to my coaster. Oh, we got it. That's going to catch me out at some point. So if you hear a crash, that's my drink doing bad things. I get a feeling a pint's not going to be enough for 2 hours, but we'll see how we go. Pint of squash, that is. Orange and pineapple squash, very nice. Yeah. You see, we're getting a bit of lag every now and then. So this is a very unstable route. We'll be lucky if we make it all the way. And if I had to pick anywhere out of a hat, like where it's going to crash, I'm going to say anywhere between Ilford and Stratford. But if we get that far, but I reckon that's where it will crash. If it's going to crash anywhere, I hope it doesn't. Obviously, it would be nice to go all the way into Liverpool Street, but Liverpool Street is just so resource intensive. I think it's got something to do with the types of lights that are used there. Like if you strip all the lights out, one, you can't see anything, but it improves the frame rates, etc. It's one of those weird situations where the station is underground, so the train does weird things, and you've got lights underground. I don't think it quite copes with it very well. I can see a train. No, I can't. I thought that was a train on the other line, but we're actually curving around it. It's a little hut. Okay then. I thought it was a train. Hopefully we see some AI during this. We should do. I don't know how frequently. I say I've only ever done this line in real life once, and to be perfectly honest, I was so uncomfortable on the way up I can't actually remember it very well. So I'm looking forward to doing it in a 745 one day. One day. Is that a train in the distance? That's looking more train-like. That's definitely a train. What we got? Another 90 set? I hope so. Oh yeah, it's lovely. Excellent. Screenshot time. 007, 003, look at that. That's very, very nice. Racing along now. We have got 5.3 miles to go until this. Slowing down is going to be an interesting thing to do. We'll take it easy. We'll take it easy, get a feel for it. Hopefully build up some confidence as we go. Hopefully indeed. Hopefully. Yep. Brakes are applying themselves. I like this. Got a neutral section coming up. I don't know if this thing reacts to them or not, but we're going to pretend like it does. You know, we might as well do things as properly as we can. Let's bring the power down. Neutral section. Under it. And power back up. Nice. Excellent. I'll tell you what also doesn't help in this journey, I'm actually quite tired, so this could go horribly wrong at some point. I can barely drive and talk at the same time when I'm fully alert, so this is going to be just very interesting as we go on. But, you know, are we accelerating? Yeah, we're accelerating. Good, good. Just very slowly, going back downhill, 3 miles out. Okay. It's sort of at the 2 mile mark where we really want to start considering. Because some stations are easy because you've got speed reductions that help you sort of towards it. But I reckon this is going to be the sort of station where it's just in the middle of nowhere and you've got to judge it entirely by yourself. Which I'm not afraid to do. Much. It'll be fine. Lots of level crossings. Nice. Alright, 1.9 miles. Power down. So we're only doing 100 miles an hour. It shouldn't be too bad. Other trains going this fast, I can pretty well judge the braking distance, but I'm not used to driving too many local hauled sets, so we'll see. If it's got really bad braking, some of you are going to be screaming at me to slow down now, but we'll find out. We'll find out. Right. Step 4 brakes, mile out. Hopefully a mile's good enough. Step 5 brakes. Full service. Come on, we got this. We will shortly be arriving at this. I think we've done alright, you know. Ease the brakes a little bit. Some sort of industrial sidings there, very nice. You see a route in a different way when you can see it out the front compared to when you're doing it, you know, as a passenger. You see different things. It's nice. Well, safe to say I think we did that rather well. So, 100 miles an hour, mile, can be done. Good to know. Now, is this a case where we've got to overhang the loco, or do we all fit on the platform regardless? Dunno, but we're even on time. Look at that. That is what I like to see. Alright, slow it, slow it, slow it, slow it, slow it, slow it. We're going to overhang a little bit. I didn't throw emergency. Double tap the keyboard. Oh well. Doors, on time. We're only overhanging a little bit. That's fine. Right. I didn't mean to throw it into emergency then. But that's fine. We can release the brakes there. And apply some again. Excellent. Yes, welcome to Dis. Compressor's going mad. Nice. First stop, relatively successful. That I'm glad to see. It's the first of many, don't get me wrong. Did we all fit? We did all fit. Look at that. Even have room to spare. We've got a sideways signal. That's cool. That's the sort of attention to detail I like. Like that's probably how it looks in reality, like a sideways signal, because it didn't fit. Obviously, you wouldn't have the board sideways as well, but limitations of the sim. Right. Stowmarket. Let's go. Head up here so we can watch it depart. Lovely. I do like the look of these sets. I'm just not a fan of them from a passenger perspective. I've always enjoyed train spotting at Stratford, watching these race through. It's all good fun. That's it. And away we go. Excellent. Alright, how are we doing? Speeding up rather well. Still got the speed set to 100. 14 miles to Stowmarket. Okay. So once we get to Ipswich, that's sort of like the familiar TS territory. That's sort of when we know how far it will feel. Like, I've watched people drive this, and it is quite the slog to do. And I remember saying to myself, there is no way I'm ever doing this. This is going to take forever. But after doing it in real life, I thought, yeah, why not? You know. But as I said, I couldn't justify the 2 and a bit hours it takes back then. So I've just been sitting on it, waiting for a chance. I found this scenario. Back doing YouTube again. Here we are. I don't know what you define the halfway point as. Operationally, you'd think Ipswich, but I think Colchester's probably more the halfway point. 114 miles, maybe. I don't know. I know that because London-Ipswich is longer than Ipswich-Norwich, I think. But that's how it is. I don't know. It's not a route I know that much about. I just know that cool trains go through it, and you know, from train spotting there, I like it. That's about all I know. It's not one of those routes I've ever needed to know much about. Because when it comes to sort of railway lines through Essex, I more care about the London, Tilbury and Southend Railway, the C2C network. That's sort of my preference for Essex railways, because I've got more of a connection to it. It's just it's a nice self-contained network. The Electrostars on it are awesome, and yeah, I think someone's actually making it for Train Sim. Like, there's a group on Facebook, and it looks like they're making it in both the 90s and modern day. So hopefully someone will make a 357 for them, because that'll be a nice thing to have. And you'll get me driving that quite a bit. That you will. Right, back up to speed again. Again, this is dead straight track. So this 90 can only do 110. But if we were in a faster train, like, why not just uprate this line to like 125? Like, there must be something they can do, like improve the wires or just put a bit more support in the ground. It just feels like you're holding back a lot, you know? Like, Norwich at 90 is a good thing to be able to do, but you can probably do it a lot quicker. Throw a flirt down here, which is lighter, better acceleration, better braking, improve the infrastructure. They could easily shave another 10 minutes off that, I reckon. Easily. maybe that should be a test to do one day. We'll see how fast we can do it. Not like a stupid speed test. You know, we're not going to throw the Super 47 down here. Well, not to start with. But just see what, in theory, could be done if this line was sort of treated the same as others in terms of speed. Because obviously East Coast Main Line's 125, West Coast Main Line maximum's 125. If we could do that here, we'd be going... We'd be getting somewhere a little bit quicker. So who knows? It's something to try one day. See how much time we can shave off. Because it's a good thing to try and do, really. You know, faster connections and all that lot is what it's all about. How? Get ERTMS, you know, or ECTS, whatever you want to call it. Get that in here. Get some trains that could do 140. That'd be good. I think the flats probably can do 140. Take no time at all to do this, because in theory 114 miles, whilst pretty long, is not the longest route in the world. It really isn't. There's other detail on this route, like the overhead wires, like they've got the proper sort of, you can see it going to and fro, like left, right, left. They've got that in, which is nice. That stops it from wearing down a single bit on the pantograph. Nice foliage. It sort of keeps the quality of the original route and just extends it north, which for a workshop route is very impressive, considering you're not allowed custom assets and stuff. So yeah, it's a very nice route. It's just unstable. I've never had much luck driving it, and I've tried doing back in the day before I had my hiatus. I did try doing some more videos in Great Eastern Mainline. I was like, right, let's drive a 360. Let's do it. I've not done one in years. I got like 5 miles out of Colchester game crash, and 64-bit didn't really improve that all too much. So we're doing what we can. We'll just keep driving until Train Sim says no more, or we make it. I'd like to think we'll make it, because it'd just be nice, you know. You know, and Greater Anglia, GA, they don't have that much representation in Train Sim. We've got this and Wherry Lines, and that's about it. For now, at least. Alan Thompson Sim are working on the Peterborough to Ipswich line, which is cool, so that'll connect up to this sort of area. We do also have the Goo Studios. I can't remember the line that they were doing. I can't remember the name of it, but it was the other line that goes out of Norwich and south. Can't remember the name of it now. Oh, damn it. That's annoying. But it's a nice route. Very nice. But yeah, Greater Anglia just doesn't have that much representation. Because you've got the West Anglia main line, that's not in. You know, the line that goes up to Stansted Airport and stuff. That's just never been seen properly in TS. And I think when you're limited to so few options, they get old quicker. I think that's one of the reasons why Wherry Lines gets old very quickly, is you are just dealing with the same stretch of track. That's all we've had. And the same can happen with the steam era. Like, there are some fantastic freeware steam routes for all over the country, and fictional and real. But in the grand scheme of things, the main thing that we have is Riviera Line in the 50s. And that route sort of sparks the creation of many other GWR steam locos. But that's practically all we got for years. You know, people are still making Great Western locos specifically for that route. And it's just getting a little tired now, in my opinion, and we really need that next big steam era route that sets something in stone. You know, it gives a foundation for lots of steam locomotives from other regions to sort of come into play. Like, I would love, like, London to Basingstoke in the 1950s or 60s, because you've got the old EMUs, you've got steam locos. it'd be a nice mix. And the same because anything in the south, London, Brighton, back then, would be a very similar story. I'm going to brake now, but a bit more gently. That's the plan. Going downhill as well. But yeah, I just feel like we need that next. Or the East Coast Main Line. London is ambitious, but London to York would be very nice in a steam era route. LNER, you know, new A3, new A4. That's the sort of stuff we need, in my opinion. LMS would be good as well. Just that next big route that sort of sets the foundations for a couple years worth of new steam locos. It'd be nice. And that's what you just need every now and then. A route set that sparks something new in train sim. And I think a good example of that is the London Underground. And the way you put that into perspective is, before Virtual District Line came out, which is a freeware route that covers some of the District Line. I've covered it once before and I will do again one day. Before that was in train sim, we had next to nothing. We had the Isle of Wight, which had the old 38 stock as the 483. We eventually got a London Transport Pack on a fictional route. So it was close, but it wasn't quite what people were looking for. It wasn't until we got the District Line that Just Trains did London Aylesbury, did the S8, did the Metropolitan line. You know, and then West Coast Main Line South, freeware route got the Bakerloo line, and now we're getting the Bakerloo line in Train Sim World 2. It just it was that one thing that set everything off. We're more or less on time here. No, we're early. Excellent. Yeah, it's the one thing that set everything off. Was the Virtual District Line. It was the spark that Train Sim needed to get underground going. And we just need more sparks. We just need more sparks. Like, hopefully the Peterborough Ipswich route in its phases will see a massive boom of routes and stock appropriate for stuff in the sort of Greater Anglia area. You know, and we just need that in other places, like the Midlands and Scotland's a big one. I mean, we get Scotland's very poorly covered, really. Suburban Glasgow is a fantastic route, don't get me wrong. And then you've got Five Circle and stuff like that, but it's like the route up to Dundee, that's a Just Trains route that hasn't been touched in, what, 10 years? It's ugly as all hell now, it could really do with being remade. And, we don't have the Highland Main Line or anything, you know. Just need those sparks. Just need those sparks. Basically, anything that gets a 755, 745 in game would be good for this sort of route. That's all we need. Right, next stop, Ipswich. And we're away. I love the noises these coaches make. However, what noise is better? The squeakiness of a Mark III or the seagulls of a Mark IV? That's the ultimate question. Lovely set. And I like the weathering on it too. It's amazing. Some trains have white liveries, look just filthy all the time. Some of them aren't too bad though. Alright, Ipswich. 11 miles. That's sort of the familiar territory then. Once we're at Ipswich. Still got a long way to go though. And I think it's the amount of stops from Ipswich to London that adds the time to this. If we were a proper express service, we'd be calling it Colchester and Stratford, probably. That'd be about it. So, you know. Yeah, that's going to add some time to it. But it's nice. The neutral section coming up. I do want to do some longer drives. I like doing two things in TS. There's two things I like doing that I never get the time to do. Well, apart from the odd exception like this. Long drives, long routes like that, and sort of shift patterns where you drive the same route to and fro for as long as a real driver would, you know, in reality, on a morning shift, for example. It's just one of those things that I like to do. Like, set up a scenario on the Sheerness branch that goes Sittingbourne, Sheerness, Sittingbourne, Sheerness, Sittingbourne, Sheerness. I could do that if I had the time, easily, happily. Same as I could, you know, do London to Penzance one day if I wanted to. It's like, what, 5-6 hours? But it's just finding the time. It's just finding the time and finding the right sort of scenarios to do it as well. It really is tricky. But it's one of the things I'm looking forward to. You know, finding the time to do with TSW on timetable mode. Hang on. There we go. Like, pick something like East Coast Way, or indeed Bakerloo Line, and just pick a train and just sit with it all day. Like a Seaford service, so that, you know, because obviously trains that go towards Hastings, they go off route, so you can't stay with it. But trains that go to Seaford just go between Seaford and Brighton all day, so you could take it out the depot and just stick with it all day. Lovely. And same would be true on Bakerloo Line, of course. It's a self-contained route. Trains just go backwards and forwards all day. So I'd love to do that as well. It's just finding the time to do it. It's just finding the time to do it. And balancing that between, you know, diversity and such lot, because I like to drive different things. I like to get about a bit. Like, I've got 3-4 scenarios lined up that I want to do on the Brighton main line, and I could do them all in one go, but I want to spice things up a bit. You know, I could have easily in this 2 hours done 2 runs on the Brighton main line, but it's like, yeah, but I could do that next time, and then do something else, then do Brighton, then do something else, then do Brighton again. You know, just sort of shake things up a bit. It's a balancing act, all this. Making sure you don't get bored of certain routes, but driving them when you want to drive them, sort of thing. Hobbies and passions are complicated. They really are. They are that well. In some cases they are, and they're as complicated as you make them. But at the end of the day, it's just about the enjoyment, isn't it? As long as you're enjoying what you're doing, that's all that really matters. Come on, game. Stay with me here. Less than 6 miles to go until Ipswich. We should get some speed reductions down for Ipswich. It's a bit of a curve through there, I think. At least on the approach and leaving, so it should be a bit easier to slow down for. And hopefully, south of Ipswich, we should get up to 110 at some point. It should be nice. Looks like we're going to be on time still. I like a long drive and I like doing shift work because it feels like I'm actually doing something important. I'm not just driving a train from here to there, I'm, you know, getting people from A to B, like significant place A to significant place B, or fulfilling a shift. That's sort of the reason why I like it. It just takes time to do. But I also just had a screenshot. Let's get something like that. Not the best in the world, but I'll take it. That I will. Lovely. 3.5 miles. Okay. Yeah, Ipswich is just a landmark to say we're getting pretty close to familiar territory. And then there's always those stations, for me at least, that sort of signify when you're getting close to London. Sort of like you're passing the threshold into London sort of stations. 85 limit, good to know. So you've got East Croydon, Bromley South, Potters Bar. Those are sort of we're getting close to London stations. It's sort of just mentally sort of thing. And with this, it's probably Shenfield, because that's sort of where TfL Rail starts. So once we get that close, that's sort of when the final stretch will kick in. Not all routes have it, but that's, for me, how it sort of feels. It's one of those weird things, I guess. That's a very sharp corner, but the track has now quadrupled. Start bringing some speed down. It tells you how old this is as well. AP product that's got instant AWS warnings. There should be a second gap in there. Keep the speed coming down. We do have a 40 and a 25 to deal with. Come on, game, you got this. There's a bit built up around here because we've also got the Felixstowe area not too far away, so there's lots to load. Speaking of Felixstowe, got a shed. Bit of freight action for the day to kick us off. Double shed, look at that. That's what I'm talking about. And a 321, of course. I do like a 321. Although as someone who prefers 3-car trains, when I see a 321, I just wish it was a 320. Like, I just like 3-car trains. It's what I'm used to with the Class 508s that used to run in the Medway Valley and the 375-3s that do now. It's just what I'm more accustomed to. And speaking of being accustomed to things, one thing I haven't mentioned yet, which I do find bizarre about this, pick any other route that had local hauled services, and there's some track that's invisible. Hopefully that won't cause us any grief. Whew! That's unnerving. We're good. Alright, he's leaving. What was I talking about? Yeah, stuff that's weird. Look at the 90. It's on the London end of the train. That's just weird to me. Because I'm used to seeing trains on the East Coast mainland where the 91s face away from London. It just strikes me as odd seeing a loco haul train with the loco at the back, at the London end. Just one of those things that's weird, I guess, for me. But, nevertheless, welcome to Ipswich. And stop it there. Bang on time. Excellent. Look at that. Love it. So yes, welcome to traditional Great Eastern Mainline territory. What we've got? We've got 170, a couple sheds, a DRS shed as well, very nice. Unbranded DRS shed. Ex-DRS Freightliner, maybe? Oh, there's two here. Power haul and all, and normal. Nice. Lots of trains here. I like it. Into the tunnel we go shortly, and then, yeah, familiar Great Eastern Territory all the way to London now. And to remind ourselves, we are calling at Manningtree, Colchester, Marks Tay, Kelvendon, Whittam, Hatfield Peveril, Chelmsford, Shenfield, Stratford, and Liverpool Street. It's not going to be a quick run. Most of the time, is going to go into this, but it's fine. Like, these are stations that are quite close together. That's sort of the reason. So we're not actually going to get up to much speed during all this. But it's fine. What's interesting, it's just the pickup stuff that's here. There's more pickup instructions here, I think, than there are on the briefing. Like, it says Chelmsford. It doesn't mention Shenfield or Stratford in the briefing up there. That's bizarre. Oh well. Maybe there's a story to that, and I'm breaking the illusion by reading the whole thing. Sure, we'll find out. Excuse me, you actually going to get off the train, or are you just going to slow motion? Cool folks don't look at explosions. Please don't blow my train up for cinematic effect. Staying alive, staying alive. Anyway, right, it's just what are you doing? Slow motion. That's just like the coolest slow-mo walk ever, isn't it? But not quite what you should be doing. Like, go away. Are you making any forward progress whatsoever? I don't mean to zoom in. I just want to see if you're making any forward progress. No, you are actually stuck in place. Amazing. Amazing. Alright. I think it's almost time for us to depart. Which we shall watch from here. Due to service cancellation, you will additionally be calling at Markstay, Kelvin and Whittam, Hatfield, Peville, Shenfield and Stratford. There's the news. There it is. Right, let's, before we set off, let's bring that back down to 30 so I don't speed. And let's watch the magic happen from here. That's it. And we're off. Oh, nice looking locos. Into the darkness we go. That's it. And away. Nice. Right. There we go. 45 limit, 70, 100. Straight away, stopping in 9 miles. Yeah, getting up to speed is going to be an interesting challenge now. Probably not something we are going to get the luxury to do. But service cancellation, we are doing our part for the good of the railway. That's what it's all about. I'll also throw that straight up to 100. We're never going to reach the lower speed limits before we actually pass the next board. That's it. So yes, familiar Great Eastern Territory now. Familiar enough, anyway. You know, nothing we haven't seen before. Now it's just about how far we can get. I mean, the scenario is publicly available. In theory, that means it's been tested and it's completable. So hopefully we'll get all the way. It's purely down to if the route is stable on my machine or not, which, you know, we'll find out. We'll find out. Looking at this from a timing perspective, I'm starting to think Manningtree is more the halfway point between London and Norwich. Which is good, that means we're almost halfway. You can still see, you can see a little bit of a difference in the route building style now. More trees, the foliage is slightly different. I don't mind routes having different styles based on who made them, but one of my least favourite things is inconsistency within a route, where you can tell that different people have worked on different sections. Like, if you're working as a team to build a route, you need to do in my opinion, you need to do your best to make sure that sections are consistent and that you're all working to the same standard and patterns. There are some routes I've gone through and sort of fixed it, like emulated other people's styles, because you can tell as each tile loads and you go through it, you can tell who two different people worked on it because of how different the styles are. And that could be anything down to how the ground is painted, how assets have been used, and it comes down to just sort of familiarity, I guess, and just noticing different patterns, which I probably do more than others, considering I see a lot of routes, both DTG and not DTG, that aren't finished. You know, I see routes get made, and I can see sort of the logistics behind making a route. I understand how routes are made, and you know, in my spare time I do some scenery work myself. It's good fun. This is a bit of an art style for sure, and you know, it takes some practice, but it's nice doing a bit of scenery work now and then. But I always try and emulate a certain style so it matches everything else, because I'm usually altering scenery or adding it here, there and everywhere, and it's just trying to keep it consistent. It's an interesting challenge. There's nothing wrong with having your own style, but keep it on your own route, if that's, you know, if you know what I'm saying. It's just my preference. Routes should be of a consistent standard all the way down. Just having a read. I've not actually taken much time to look round the 90. It's the sort of train where I drive it for 5 minutes. That was nice. On we go next. You know. So it's just taking the time to appreciate it, because it's been in train sim for years and it's not something I ever really look at. And again, this is just the HUD version. There's an advanced one as well. Alright. You know it's got to happen. Screenshot around a corner? It'd be rude not to. It's got to be done occasionally. You can't blame me too much. My goodness, I take so many screenshots. You have literally no idea how many I take. 'Cause I take some in my spare time too. Because of course I do. It's just what I do. It's just what I do. Lovely. But yeah, it's like I can easily in like a few weeks take like 600 screenshots if I wanted to. It's just ridiculous. Nice. Alright, 2.7 miles to Manningtree. Tree! Manningtree. That was man in tree, that's what that was. I went straight into that tree. Dear oh dear. It would be a resource nightmare, but I would love it if like branches actually collided with the train and such. Because there is nothing more frightening than the noise of a train going as a tree brushes across it at high speed. Alright, 80 limit, 70 limit, Manningtree. You got this. I'm going downhill, so just braking in good time for that 80, hopefully. Got it. I'm always nervous when the game lags at the same time you're trying to push a key, because you don't know if it's going to register or not. It's one of those weird TS quirks, really. Water! Yeah, if you sort of push a button... Oh, I was going to take a screenshot, but it didn't work. No. Oh well. You can't tell if a screenshot's going to... What was I saying? No, you can't tell if a keyboard command's going to work or not. Because you might just end up in a situation where at the exact same time you push the key, it lags and it doesn't correctly read the input, and then nothing happens. It's annoying. But it's just one of those quirks, really. There's not much you can do about it. Alright, speed coming down. Welcome to Manningtree. This is where the Harwich... Is it Harwich Town branch is off? The Just Trains route, the extension, Mayflower line. That's what's coming in from the left there, I believe. Here we are. Welcome to Manningtree. Bring ourselves into the end of the platform. Don't want to crawl in too much, but we do want to make sure we don't overrun. And that's what I call a perfect stop. Welcome to Manningtree. Early as well. Lovely stuff, lovely stuff. Look at that. What are the wires doing there? Is there a power station? Substation? Just... This guy has just like got the most powerful PC rig in the world because he needs all of the wires. Look at that. Oh dear, it's like, yeah, this house right here just needs all the power in the world. My goodness. Oh dear. Right, let's forget we ever saw that. Let's forget we ever saw that. That's bizarre, isn't it? A bridge and level crossing next to each other. You'd think you'd just have both or neither of them. Well, not neither of them, but one or the other. How strange. Oh, we almost fit in the platform, it's not too bad. Right, let's race back up to the front. Get a nice look at the train. If I can get the camera aligned properly. Lovely. Doors are closed. And on our way to Colchester we go.